Welcome to the political checkmate, and for the next few weeks, I am going to debunk 4 anti-gun videos on Charlie Kirk's argument that gun deaths are still worth owning a gun. The 4 videos are TYT Watchlist, TYT, Sam Cedar's co-host Emma Vickland, and David Pacman's correspondent Luke Beasley. The first one I will checkmate would be TYT's Watchlist video, Charlie Kirk. The Second Amendment is worth more than your kids' lives. So here we go.
Now, we must also be real. We must be honest with the population. Having an armed citizenry comes with a price. Wow. And that is part of liberty. Wow. Driving comes with a price. 50,000 people die on the road every year. Wow. That's a price. You get rid of driving, you'd have 50,000 less auto fatalities. But we have decided that the benefit of driving, speed, accessibility, mobility, having products, services, is worth the cost of 50,000 people dying on the road. Wow. So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
We could take and dismantle this stupidity very easily and constantly and over again because by having more fathers in the home, because that's something you can legislate. And by the way, sometimes these fathers in homes are the ones committing the violence. Who cares? Charlie Kirk's just talking out of his ass. But what he does want you to make very clear, which he said the words, let's be very clear. Your kids are going to die, and I don't give a damn. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to it because there's this access to cars that we have, which is awesome. We can increase our transportation, travel, accessibility, deliveries. Everything can happen so much better. But with these guns, we can kill more people. Isn't that the same thing? He continues with this line boldly, somehow speaking in front of folks and thinking this makes sense. Let's watch more.
Charlie Kirk is not saying that he does not care about children dying. He is saying that taking things away because some people die is not worth it if the benefits outweigh the cost, and later in the same video he states that he wants to reduce the rate of crime. After all, the benefits with guns are that there are 1.67 million defensive gun uses in 2021. That is more than 20,958 gun murders. It has been a crime deterrent against criminals by making these criminals fear committing a crime against a person with a gun. They avoid committing the crime against that person. That is what a survey from 1985 by the Justice Department found, that about 3/5 of criminals will not mess with a victim with a gun, and they also fear an armed victim more than the police. And 74% will not burglar a house if people are in the home in fear of being shot. Going back to his first point, we can reduce single-parent households by declining the arrest of people for victimless crimes and trying to reduce the premarital sex rates.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. Sure. So then how do you reduce? Very simple. People say, oh, Charlie, how do you stop school shootings? I don't know. How did we stop shootings at baseball games? Because we have armed guards outside of baseball games. That's why. How did we stop all the shootings at airports? We have armed guards outside of airports. How do we stop all the shootings at banks? We have armed guards outside of banks. How do we stop all the shootings at gun shows? Notice there's not a lot of mass shootings at gun shows. There's all these guns because everyone's armed.
I'm not sure how many gun shows he's been to, but I get this. I've heard reports, at least, that gun shows, all these guns that they're selling aren't loaded, aren't full of ammunition, and people aren't carrying around and pointing them at each other. As a matter of fact, I think they'd only like to come in with their other guns. I don't know. Maybe if they do, that's probably a gun show you don't want to go to anymore. By the way, there's other aspects of this. He mentioned the God-given rights. It's our God-given rights we have to protect with gun ownership. If God gave you these rights that you're supposed to only protect with gun ownership and shooting each other, how come he didn't create us with guns as hands so that we can get to shooting each other? He gave us certain rights that we're supposed to protect with guns only because God is about guns. Then how come we didn't create them? How come we have these things that are used for everything else? We need guns then. That's something that man created. That's something that man put forward to go ahead and protect his supremacy over other men. Quick and easy ways to kill them. Also, he said we wouldn't have an armed citizenry without gun deaths, and that's something that we just need. So imagine this, Charlie. This armed citizenry, and we're supposed to go ahead and accept gun deaths. What if it's you and your family? Or what if it's someone that you love? What if it's your kids? Suddenly, is it okay? Would you go, yes, my family's dead. That's awesome. Can't wait for more guns. I have a feeling he wouldn't be that happy about it. As a matter of fact, he'd go, why is it that we have to deal with my family dying for someone that I don't know or give a good damn about having more of these guns? But they make sure that they're pretty much immune from these types of conversations and these interactions because they're better than other folks. It's the way they've always gone about it. We have another stop, but actually, I'm curious what you think first.
I don't care what weapon you used, such as a knife or baseball bat. I would still be upset if my family died. The reason why a person would use a God-given right would be because God gave you life, and you should have the right to defend your life. In Luke 22:36, let him who has no sword sell his mantle and buy one. While with the gun show citation needed, and better example for Charlie Kirk's argument would be shooting ranges. How come there are not many mass shootings in shooting ranges? The data has shown that many mass shootings have been done in gun-free zones. The Crime Prevention Research Center has shown that since 1950s, 94% of mass shootings have been done in gun-free zones.
It's pathetic. And by the way, baseball can't even keep people from streaking naked on the field. So I don't know what he's talking about, these armed guards that are protecting everyone.
I don't know what you're talking about people streaking naked on the baseball field. That seems to be a rare thing in baseball because I cannot find a statistic on people running naked on a baseball field. This is a false comparison fallacy because people who run naked on a field might find it worth more than committing an act of violence because they find it funny and might have themselves recorded online for people to watch. The punishment for running naked on the field would be being banned from baseball games, a couple $100s to even a few $1,000s, and a couple days in jail and maybe even a few months, while a person who shoots up a baseball field will either get shot and will get a life sentence, and depending on the state, will get the death penalty.
By the way, people can shoot outside of banks all they want. They could open that front door and shoot every patron in there. But you know what? Do you know what's protected? All that money in the back is protected. Is the money just sitting on the shelf? Is it sitting next to the hand sanitizer and the coffee in the front? No, it's behind closed doors. It's behind serious amounts of glass and safes and all that stuff. And that's their answer for every school in America. The children should be locked behind plexiglass and safes, which cost only $5 to $10 each. And that's something we can put in every school.
I don't really see your argument as to why we can't make schools hard to break into. After all, data from the FBI has shown that lone offender terrorism from 1972 to 2015 has shown that 79% of offenders targeted places with no security or minimal security, where it's just security cameras. A study from John Lott has shown that there has been 0 school shootings where a teacher was armed.
By the way, since we're talking about this pushback and everything like that and rules, he mentioned cars. You know, there was a point in America when people could drive with beers, people could drive without seatbelts on. And when those rules that would make driving safer so you don't have to kill other folks, when those rules came into place, some folks thought it was radical. Let's watch.
Drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be a communist country.
Still waiting on that communism. There, Sharon, still waiting on it.
How will history judge you? Okay. Work hard. I have brewski on the way home.
Exact
I
same
guess.
argument. Same argument throughout history. Everything that changes is communism. Rules, those rules are put in place, and guess what? How many fewer drunk driving incidents there are because of those rules? How about car seats for children? I feel like I've said this so many times, but
Yeah.
I know, everyone knows this, but we don't actually confront our leaders or people that make these decisions with these very basic facts. But communism's coming.
Yeah, the seatbelts being communism, that seems to be more of a wrong choice of words. The right word would be totalitarianism. The reason why these ideas seem to be crazy to these people is because you're implementing a new policy to control how these people live. Anyway, the decline of drunk driving accidents could be because of a decline of young people getting drunk. The reason being that more people care about their health, and another reason would be because more people are driving less due to high gas prices, according to a survey from the AAA. On seatbelts, they make a person safer while driving the car. They should not be mandated by law because of the Peltzman effect. A study from economist Saul Peltzman has found that mandating safety standards would cause an increase in risky behavior. While with child seats, a study from economist Steve Levitt has found that seatbelts are as effective form of protection as child seats. Going back to the root of the argument, I don't think gun control will work to reduce gun violence because only 10.1% of criminals got their guns from a retail source, while 89.9% of criminals did not get their guns from a retail source. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and please donate to my Patreon so I can make more videos and have your video requested checkmated. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day.